Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another session, or rather, a sitting of polity and constitution. I hope I'm audible as well as visible. Okay, let's wait for those to join and then we'll begin our discussion for the day. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. In the meantime, others will keep on joining. So, in the previous class, that is, of course, yesterday, we had taken up for discussion the topic president, and we are discussing about the legislative powers of the president. We saw Article 85 summoning, proroguing the sessions. We saw Article 86 optional addressing or the mandatory address, the special address by the president, Article 87. We also saw the nomination of members into Rajya Sabha. We also saw that some bills require the prior recommendation of the president and so on and so forth, such parts. Ending our discussion with ordinances, Article 123, issues, concerns, way forward, suggestion, etc. And we also looked into understanding the concept of veto powers, right? So as far as the veto is concerned, so we saw that the Indian president has 3 vetoes, what is known as the absolute veto, the suspensive veto, and the pocket veto. Now, we then saw the discretionary powers of president, then the topic vice president, then the council of ministers, including the prime minister, Article 75, all the clauses 1, 1A, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then some other aspects when we saw the portfolio system, that is the ministries that we have, the various categories of ministers that we have. The categories are mentioned in the allocation of business rules. The committees are mentioned in the transaction of business rules. Then we saw some other issues or concerns regarding the cabinet system, their powers, checks on cabinet, also the size of cabinet, also things like the criteria that we should be keeping in mind while choosing ministers, all such things. Then we moved on to understanding cabinet committees, their issues, challenges, advantages, benefits, etc., types of committees, their nomenclature, number of members, all these things. And finally, Attorney General of India, Article 76, the highest law officer of the country. And then we moved on to understanding the topic parliament. We had taken up for discussion the 2 houses, the Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha, their members, how they're elected, what all things are there, basic information, right? Right up to the topic delimitation of constituencies. Now, we'll take up for discussion the membership of the parliament. So, I hope others have joined. Suryam, how can I clarify my doubts? Ask your doubts here. Just like you've asked this doubt, ask your other doubts as well. Either the mentors or me, either one of us would clarify your doubts, the experts. Shalu, legal responsibility. See, as far as the collective responsibility concept is concerned, it is limited to only non-legal aspect of responsibility. Let's say a minister is not able to perform in his or her domain. There is some corruption in, say, some ministry. Other ministers will not be held legally accountable for the minister's failure. Meaning, you can't send the entire council of ministers to jail because one minister is corrupt, because there is collective responsibility, right? So of course there's a difference. Legal responsibility is an individual responsibility, wherein you are somebody who has to take care of the ethical aspect, the integrity of your own ministry, and nobody else is responsible. Okay, so Nitin, difference between absolute and pocket veto. See, absolute veto and pocket veto. Absolute veto means, I think I explained it very beautifully yesterday, wherein when you are going to propose to somebody that you love someone, and you send them a message that I love you, and if the person sees the message and does not respond, that's called a pocket veto. If the person sees a message and says I hate you and blocks you, that's absolute veto, right? That's a difference. Wherein the president does not give the assent, says that I will not sign, I'm rejecting the bill, that's called absolute veto. But when the president neither accepts nor rejects the bill, pocket veto, keeps it pending. Anyway, so how to study about new acts? Current affairs. That's the source of new acts. Study current affairs. Okay. Pleasure of president on ministers, Jitu, that basically means, see, that idea of pleasure of president on ministers is that we have to ensure that the ministers perform their task properly and they maintain the purity and ethics of administration. If any minister is misbehaving and the PM is not removing the minister for whatever reasons, then the president should give ample warning to the PM that please remove him, he's not behaving properly. But if the PM still refuses to remove the minister, then the president may use the pleasure doctrine and remove the minister, saying that you don't enjoy my pleasure now, I hate you, please get lost. Extreme circumstances. Anyway, let's come back now. I hope everyone has joined and we'll begin our discussion for the day. Before that, break time is very, very important. We have a long discussion ahead. So first break, let's have the very first break at 11:30. 11:30 to 11:40. Break number 1. Then 1 to 2 is the lunch break, right? Then once you come back at 2, 3:30 to 3:40 is again a break. Then 5 to 5:30 we'll have a tea break, right? And then around 6:50 to 7 we'll have a small break again. So plenty of breaks today. 5 breaks, full enjoyment of your time, right? So these are the breaks for the day. Lunch from 1 to 2 and a tea break from 5 to 5:30. Okay, right? So okay, I hope this is understood. Let's begin our discussion for the day now. So yesterday we were discussing on the houses, the Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha. Now the members, that is the MPs in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. So MPs of Lok Sabha are elected by us, people vote. MPs of Rajya Sabha are elected by the MLAs of respective states. Now, what is the criteria or the qualification to be an MP? First up, you have to be a citizen of India, of course. Then you have to subscribe to an oath, and that oath is mentioned, I am sure you are aware, in Schedule 3 of the Indian Constitution. And there is also an age criteria. So in case you want to be an MP of Lok Sabha, you have to have minimum age of 25 years or above. In case you want to be an MP of Rajya Sabha, 30 years or above. This is the criteria. Beyond that, one very important criteria is that anyone who wants to be an MP of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, they need to have their name in any voter list in the country. So what we say is, in case you want to contest elections, your name should be, or you should be, an elector. What is, or who is an elector? Elector means voter. Elector from any parliamentary constituency. Meaning your name should be in the voter list anywhere in the country. If your name is in the voter list anywhere in the country, then you are called an elector. And that is a criteria, right, for you to be able to contest elections in the country. A criteria is that you have to be an elector from any parliamentary constituency. That's it. If you want to contest elections for the from a constituency which is a reserved constituency, say for scheduled caste to scheduled tribes, then of course you should belong to the SC or ST community. That's also there. So this is the criteria for you to be able to contest elections. Then disqualifications. So how can some member be disqualified? Members can be disqualified on the grounds of these elements mentioned in the Constitution under Article 102. This is clause 1. So if you are not a citizen, disqualified. If you are an undischarged insolvent, it basically refers to bankruptcy. If you took some loan and have declared yourself bankrupt, that sorry, I can't repay the loan, so we will also not allow you to contest elections. I mean, if you cannot manage your own finances properly, how can we depend on you to manage the country's finances properly? That's a very genuine concern. And if you're of unsound mind, meaning you have gone crazy. Now, unsound mind, a court has to declare you of unsound mind, not the opposition parties, right? So if every politician thinks that other party members are crazy only, but if the court declares you of unsound mind, then of course you are crazy, so you will not be allowed to contest elections. And the fourth criteria is office of profit. So office of profit is a very unique criteria. And see, as far as office of profit is concerned, this word is not defined anywhere in the Constitution, right? Not defined in the Constitution. But what do you mean by office of profit? So think of this. If you hold any post where the government is giving you some kind of salary or benefit, you are getting some salary from government or some benefit from government, then as an MP, do you think you'll be able to perform your tasks genuinely, properly, independently? Of course not. Imagine in the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha, you are sitting there as an opposition member MP or some ruling party MP, and you get up to ask a question from the Prime Minister, from the Home Minister, from the Defense Minister, any minister. That's why I want to ask a question. The minister messages you saying, if you ask me a difficult question, I'll remove you from the job only. You say, okay, sorry, by mistake. Very nice minister, best minister. Of course, you will not perform your tasks properly. That is why every MP has some duties to perform, keeping the government in check, holding it accountable. If you are deriving some benefit from the government only, how will you ever be able to keep the government in check? So, to remove any kind of conflict that may arise between the duty, the responsibility of the elected member The duty. What is the duty of elected member? To hold the ministers accountable. So to remove such conflicts between the duties and interest of elected members. So interest could be getting some salary, getting some work, getting some contract from the government. If you are doing any such things, then sorry, you can't contest elections. Or if you are holding some post, you will be removed from the post, or you'll be removed from the your post of being an MP or the member of the house. So office of profit says that any position that brings to the office holder any kind of financial gain or advantage or benefit from the government, meaning the central or the state government, does not really matter which government, any government. Okay. And when it comes to MPs, Article 102 Clause 1 says that if you hold an office of profit, you can't contest elections, or if you're holding an office of profit, you'll be disqualified from being an MP. And Article 191 Clause 1 is for MLA or MLC. Okay. So that is there. Now, this office of profit is not defined anywhere in the constitution. This basically, the purpose of office of profit is to ensure what? Ensure separation of powers. Separation of powers between the legislature and the executive. But over the course of various judgments, Supreme Court has tried to determine for us what possibly could be an office of profit. So there are some tests. So if any post meets these criteria, any of these criteria, that post can be called an office of profit, meaning you are deriving some benefit from the government. These have come through via Supreme Court judgments. So what are these Supreme Court judgments? So I'll give you a couple of judgments names here. You can remember any such judgment, and all of them have the same kind of concept. One very popular judgment was a Rikab Chand case of 1958, a very popular case. Then we had a very, very famous case, which was Shankari Prasad Ghoshal case. SP Ghoshal case of 1964. And then one case called Bihari Lal Dobre case of 1983, or around a couple of decades back, Supan Roy versus Pradyut Bordoloi. So, Supan Roy case of 2001. In all these cases, Supreme Court has tried to determine or define what can be a possibly a post of office of profit. So, Supreme Court says if government is making the appointment to your post, if the government makes the appointment, then you are getting some benefit from the government. You can't be a legislator. If the government has right to remove or dismiss you, termination of your service can be done by the government, then you are holding an office of profit, you can't contest elections. If the government pays the remuneration, meaning salary, allowances, etc., are paid by the government, when you are performing some government functions, say building a bridge, etc., if you are performing such government functions, then of course you will be deemed to be holding an office of profit, and then we can't expect you to question the government in the parliament or the state legislatures, because you are getting some benefit from the government. How will you be able to exercise your rights properly, or you perform your duties properly? And if the government has control over the performance of functions, These are 5 elements which determine whether an office is an office of profit or not. For example, let's assume me as a manager and a faculty here at Byju's. So let's think of my post. Whether the government has appointed me, of course not. Can the government remove me or dismiss me? They cannot. Does the government pay my salary? Of course not. Am I performing the functions for the government? Of course not. Government is not telling me to go and teach the students for UPSC. And government has no control over the duties and functions I perform. What I teach, how I teach, it's totally up to me and the organization. Government has no control over me. So I am not holding an office of profit. So I can contest elections. So I have no such interest, but that is how it is. Okay. Now, this is with respect to the office of profit. Now, as far as this office of profit is concerned, there is a law in the country. The law is called Parliament Prevention of Disqualification Act. Now, what is the purpose of this law? You know, there are some posts. Even if you hold the post, you are still allowed to contest elections, meaning some posts are exempted from disqualification. That is why the law says Parliament Prevention of Disqualification, meaning it declares that certain offices of profit under the government, they shall not disqualify the holder from being chosen as a member of parliament. For example, ministers. Ministers are part of government. Ministers are also MPs. But despite being part of government, they are still allowed to contest, of course. Or LOP. LOP stands for Leader of Opposition. Leader of Opposition. So we'll discuss this word today only. Leader of Opposition is somebody from the opposition party. So you are also an MP allowed to contest elections and are also given a tag of LOP. Or people like chairperson of NCSC. What is NCSC? National Commission for Scheduled Castes. This is called NCSC. So anybody who is a chairperson of NCSC, of course the government appoints you. Who appoints the chairperson of NCSC? The president. Government is appointing you, government can remove you, but still we will allow you to contest elections and become an MP. So some posts are exempted. Okay. Chairperson of NCSC, chairperson of NCW, chairperson of NCST, etc. So section 3 of this law mentions all such posts. Okay. And see, this office of profit is a very common concept which is there across the globe. You go to UK, they also have a law. That law is called Commons Disqualification Act. Commons, from the House of Commons. In USA, in their constitution only, Article 1, Clause 6, Section 6, Clause 2, it mentions there that you cannot hold certain posts. Australia, Section 44, Clause 3 in their constitution, it mentions it very clearly. So office of profit is something which is there everywhere, right? If you are getting some benefit from government, you can't be an MP because you will never question the government properly, right? So this is what is the office of profit, and this is what is the law which provides exemption to certain posts, meaning you can hold the post and still contest elections, no problem. Even though the post is something which directly comes under office of profit, we are still going to exempt it, no problem. And this law has been amended 5 times so far. So just to point this out, before this question, there was a very interesting controversy back in 2006 for Sonia Gandhi. So what happened was that back in 2006, when it came to Sonia Gandhi, at that point of time, in the year 2004, she had won the election. In fact, Congress won the elections and defeated BJP. Uh, Defeated a very populist and a very popular leader, Atal Bihari Vajpayee. As in, BJP was led by Atal Bihari Vajpayee and LK Advani on those times, and UPA defeated them, despite BJP claiming in India shining and all that campaign was there. But then a lot of people started raising concerns that, Sonia Gandhi is a foreigner, foreign born. Why should she become prime minister and all? So Sonia Gandhi made Dr. Manmohan Singh, as the as the prime minister. So he was made the prime minister. But then, in our country, uh, Gandhi family, how can Gandhi family people be without power? They need power, right? So of course they need power. And because of this, a special post was created. A special body was created. That body was called National Advisory Council, NAC. And the task of this body was to advise the government of India on what policies to make, right? And the chairperson of this body was Sonia Gandhi. Now, the problem here is, see, this is a difference. We have to struggle to get into some post, and for rich and elite people, posts are created. Now, this was challenged that NAC is a body which is actually performing some government function. You are actually trying to tell the prime minister what policies to make. This is office of profit. Disqualify Sonia Gandhi. So Sonia Gandhi actually resigned from the post of MP. And in the meantime, this law called the Parliament Prevention of Disqualification Act was modified, and NAC was added here as an exemption, meaning anybody holding the post of chairperson of NAC was still allowed to contest elections. And this was a proposal which was sent to Dr. Kalam called the Office of Profit Bill. And Dr. Kalam actually used suspensive veto, sending back this bill to the parliament that please change this. But the parliament, because Sonia Gandhi was involved, how could the Congress party members take anything against Sonia Gandhi? They said, Dr. Kalam, you are very nice and all, but it comes to Gandhi, Nehru family, sorry. And they passed the bill again, the parliament, and Dr. Kalam was forced into signing the bill. And that is when he made a remark that this is the most difficult decision that I have had ever to take in my entire presidential career. So that is what is, this office of profit. Okay. Anyway, solve a question. First question for the day, asked in 2019. Oh, sorry, poll. I forgot. So 30 seconds should be sufficient, I believe. And please mark the answer. Sushmit says, will ruling party member ever question minister? They should, but they will never question the minister. Because every ruling party MP is hoping to get the post of minister. Why will you question the PM and minister? 85% mark the answer correctly. That's great. So consider the following statements. The Parliament Prevention of Disqualification Act 1959 exempts several posts from disqualification. Absolutely correct. The above mentioned act was amended 5 times. This is also correct, though it's a very difficult statement to mark. How many times has a law been modified? It's almost impossible to mark this. But nevertheless, look at the third statement. The term office of profit is well defined in the Constitution of India. Why this term is not defined anywhere? 3 is wrong. If 3 is wrong, remove this, remove this, remove this. You have the right answer. Elimination. This is what is called elimination technique, which you will find in YouTube, certain videos. Elimination technique. This is elimination. For elimination also, you need to know some information, right? So that's there. Don't worry. Before the prelims examination every year, you'll have hundreds of such videos. Learn polity in 2 days, history in 1 day. Best techniques to clear the examination in least amount of efforts. But sadly, that effort is required. We fail to understand that we have to have at least some knowledge to even use elimination. You needed to know this fact very clearly, that office of profit is not mentioned in the Constitution as a definition. It is not defined in the Constitution. and hence you could have eliminated it. So that's there. Okay. Now, we have seen this article before under the topic President. Decisions on questions as to disqualification. So, if any question arises as to whether a member of either House of Parliament has become subject to any disqualification, whether he is not a citizen of India or he is of unsound mind, he has become bankrupt, he is holding office of profit, who decides? The decision in this respect of the President shall be final. President decides, but we know very well nothing is the power of the President. Whose power is it? This is a power of Election Commission, not Council of Ministers, of course, Election Commission. Read clause 2. Before giving any decision on any such question, the President shall obtain. President shall obtain the opinion of Election Commission and shall act according to such opinion. So you will have to obtain the opinion of Election Commission and shall act according to such opinion. So you will act on the basis of whatever opinion Election Commission gives you. If the EC says, sir, disqualify, the President says, okay, I will disqualify. So that is a great power the President to just sign. That's it. Article 103. Now, there are some ways in which seats can become vacant. There are some other ways of disqualification not mentioned in the Constitution, but under RPA. So there is a section under RPA, section 69, under RPA 1951. I hope you remember, yesterday we had made a reference to this law, Representation of People's Act 1951. Okay, so that is there. Now, what is this vacating of seats? So let's say any person gets elected to both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha at the same time. If a person is elected to both houses of the parliament, both the houses of the parliament, of course, you can't sit in two seats. You can't go and sit in Lok Sabha seat in the morning, then run to Rajya Sabha, sit there in the afternoon. That's not possible. Choose one seat only. You can't have both the enjoyments in life. So you must intimate to Election Commission of India. Intimate to whom? Inform. Intimate means to inform. You must inform the Election Commission of India that, sir, I want to keep my seat in Lok Sabha and I am leaving the Rajya Sabha seat, or I want to keep my seat in Rajya Sabha, I want to leave my Lok Sabha seat. Inform within 10 days. If you don't inform the Election Commission on which seat you want, then your seat in Rajya Sabha becomes vacant and you will be deemed to be a member of Lok Sabha only. Both the houses, meaning Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, at the same time. So you will have to vacate one seat. Okay, that's there. Then one very typical case which happens a lot is, let's say somebody is already an MP in Rajya Sabha. See, everybody wants to be an MP in Lok Sabha because Lok Sabha MP shows that you have won the election when people have voted for you. MP of Rajya Sabha, MLAs vote, politicians vote. So that does not have the legitimacy. When people vote for you of an entire constituency, you have made a fool. I mean, you have impressed the people of the entire constituency with your promises, etc. And then they have chosen you. That's an amazing achievement, right? So that is there. So everybody wants to be an MP of Lok Sabha. To give you a simple example, back in 2017, Mr. Amit Shah, who is the current Home Minister, he was MP in the Rajya Sabha. Okay. In 2019, he contested elections from Lok Sabha from the Gandhinagar constituency in Gujarat, while being an MP of Rajya Sabha. He contested. So now what happened? You are already an MP of a house and you have contested and won the elections to the other MP. Just like when you clear the UPSC examination and you get a rank of say 400, you are getting say the post of Indian Postal Service, Indian Defense Account Service. But you want IAS, you want IPS to harass everyone. So what do? You don't resign, you take the examination again, right? So when you take the examination again and you get a better rank, you can't become an IRS officer also, an IPS officer also. Okay. So with that, the whole point here is that when it comes to the holding of posts simultaneously, you have to choose one. So you'll choose the later one, of course. And the same thing happened here. Amit Shah resigned from his post in Rajya Sabha and took the post of Lok Sabha. If you don't choose one, then it is automatic. The moment you are elected to the new house, your seat in the old house becomes vacant automatically. Nothing is required to be done here. It is an automatic procedure, right? So the moment Amit Shah became MP of Lok Sabha, his seat in Rajya Sabha became vacant. This is also mentioned in RPA section 69 of the same RPA 1951. Okay, so this is 68. Sorry, my bad. This is 68 and this is 69. Same RPA. Both the things are mentioned there. One more example is Smriti Irani. Smriti Irani was an MP of Rajya Sabha in 2011 only. In fact, she did contest elections for Lok Sabha in 2014, but could not defeat Rahul Gandhi from Amethi. But finally, in 2019, while being an MP of Rajya Sabha, she defeated Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Right? Now, she became the MP of Lok Sabha. The moment she was chosen, on the date of being chosen as MP of Lok Sabha, her seat in the Rajya Sabha became vacant. So, Smriti Irani did defeat Rahul Gandhi from his own home seat, which has been held by the family for generations, Amethi, in 2019. Right? So, that's there. But Rahul Gandhi did contest from 2 seats, Wayanad also. So, of course, he's an MP from Wayanad. Okay. Then, one more thing. If you remember in 2014, the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, he contested from 2 seats. Right. Example 2014. So, in our country, every politician is allowed to contest from maximum 2 seats in the Lok Sabha or the Vidhan Sabha. And that is there. Okay. So that is how it is. You can contest from up to 2 seats. Now you will say it is not fair. Am I allowed to fill up 2 forms? Of course not. You can fill up only 1 form. Even if you fill up hundreds of forms, only one is selected for UPSC. But our MPs can contest from 2 different seats. That is allowed for them. Now, in 2014, Narendra Modi contested from 2 seats. One was Varanasi, the other was Vadodara. Now, what happened? Because of the Modi wave, he won both the seats. And now, if you have won 2 seats in the parliament, you can't sit in 2 seats. You run and sit in 1 seat and then after 2 minutes go and sit in another seat. Of course not. We can choose only one. So within 14 days, exercise your option for one. Within 14 days, you have to choose one seat. Which seat do you want to choose? When you choose one seat, the other seat becomes vacant. So he chose Varanasi, Vadodara became vacant. Right? So that is with respect to vacating of seats. This is also mentioned in the RPA. This is section 70 of the same RPA Representation of People's Act 1951. So these are some ways in which seats get vacated. Right now, you may feel that when Narendra Modi resigned from the seat of Vadodara, we had to have by-elections again because seat was vacant. Again, elections took place in the seat. But sometimes, what happens is it can be to your advantage. Like for Rahul Gandhi, in 2019, Rahul Gandhi contested from two seats, Amethi and Wayanad. Had he only contested from Amethi, he would not have been an MP in the Lok Sabha. So basically, he contested from two seats, lost one, but luckily won from the other seat. So it's more like a safety thing for the our politicians. That is how it is, right? So that is a reality of politics in the country. So, and that is a reality of administration in the country. And every rule regulation is meant for their benefit. It's meant to suit their needs, etc., right? And if you are too critical of the government, then you know what can happen. Government has various tools to harass you, and everything is ignored for big politicians, but for common men and women, nothing is ignored, right? That is it. Anyway, last, any person cannot be a member of the parliament and the member of state legislature at the same time. Of course, that's not possible. You either be an MP in the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, or MLA or MLC. You can't be an MP at the central level, MLA or MLC at the state level. You have to choose one. So, a person cannot be a member of both the parliament and the state legislature at the same time. If a person is so elected, his seat in the parliament becomes vacant if he does not inform or does not resign from his state assembly seat within 14 days. Okay, so you have to choose one. If you don't choose one, your seat in parliament becomes vacant automatically. Okay, to give you a simple example, back in 2014, Yogi Adityanath, the bulldozer Baba from UP, he became an MP from Gorakhpur. In 2017, when BJP won the election in UP, Yogi Adityanath was made the chief minister, but he was an MP. So what he did was he was made an MLC in the Legislative Council of UP, and he resigned from the post of MP of Gorakhpur constituency. Right? So that is how it is. And finally, if the legislators in our parliament or the states also, if they are absent from the sittings of the house sittings for continuously 60 days, right, without the permission of the presiding officer, then they can be disqualified. So basically, in your school days also, remember, you had to give application that I was sick, some problem, and then you're on leave. Here also, you have to inform the presiding officer that, sir, I'm on leave, I will not be coming for these sessions, etc. Or once you have been on leave, then you can also submit the leave application later on. But you have to inform the house that you will be absent, right? And normally all these absence, most of this absence is just on two grounds. Number one, three grounds. Number one, your sickness, not well. Number two, you are taking part in some political campaign or rally. Or number three, you are on some foreign visit with respect to some kind of conference, etc. These are the basic reasons. There can be other reasons also, right? For example, recently Rahul Gandhi was absent from the sittings, so he had applied for leave application in which he had mentioned he was participating in Bharat Jodo Yatra and hence he is on leave. That's how it is. Okay. So this is with respect to you not being present in the house. Okay, that's there. This is for every MLA, MLC, MP, whether you belong to BJP, Congress, independent persons. This is the basic custom code of the house that you have to be present in the house. If you're not present, please give reasons. Okay, that's there. So this is the vacating of seats. Single line whip disobedience for 6. No, this is not whip. Whip is something different. Whip is with respect to informing the members to attend a sitting for voting and discussion on proposals. This is general attendance in the parliament, right? It is not whip. How vacant seats are fulfilled? Vacant seats are filled by elections. If any seat is vacant, elections take place. As simple as that. What's the big deal here? Nikhil, after choosing one seat, his other seat will have elections. Yes, of course, elections take place in the other seat, right? Anshu, what would happen if Amit Shah had chosen to be MP of Rajya Sabha? Why would he choose to be MP of Rajya Sabha? If he had to choose, he's already an MP of Rajya Sabha. If you're already an MP of Rajya Sabha, why would you contest election for Lok Sabha? Makes no sense only, right? Because you want to be an MP of Lok Sabha and hence you have chosen to contest. You're already an MP of Rajya Sabha. Why would you go and contest elections? How to calculate 60 days? See, 60 days are calculated in the sessions, running sessions. So the recess is not added, right? So the sessions are the ones which are counted. If there is any recess, say of 30 days, that recess is not counted in the 60 days. 60 days of continuous sittings that take place in the house, including all the three sessions. So we know very well that there are three sessions in the parliament, and the three sessions are here. Who is a legislator? Legislators are people who are members of the legislature. Legislator is a member of legislature. MP, MLA, MLC is called a legislator. So we have three sessions of the parliament. We have seen this yesterday only. Sessions are budget session, monsoon session, and winter session. Now, in your books, of course, there is a small issue. You will find that the budget session, they may mention it as February to May. Now, this is basically old information. Why? Because earlier we used to have the budget session towards the last working day of February. But now we have preponed it. First working day of February. So we save time, and that is why the shift has been there. So this is old information, this is correct information, and any which way this keeps on changing. Why? Because the ruling party decides along with the presiding officer. So it is based on their decision, because the constitution does not mention that you have to have three sessions. It only says the maximum gap between two sessions will be how much? 6 months. And this gap between two sessions is what is called recess, break. Okay, that is it. Now, tenure of MPs. We know very well what is tenure of Lok Sabha MPs. 5 years. Tenure of Rajya Sabha MPs. 6 years. But a very important element needs to be understood by you. The MP of Lok Sabha works for 5 years. Is it mentioned anywhere? No, it is not mentioned anywhere. Basically, what is mentioned is that if you look at Article 83, Clause 2, this Article 83 says that the Lok Sabha, the House of the People, Lok Sabha is subject to automatic dissolution in 5 years. Meaning after every 5 years, the Lok Sabha is subject to automatic dissolution. Meaning Lok Sabha gets dissolved automatically. This means because of this, if the house itself is dissolved, then you also have to leave the post. That is why the tenure of MP of Lok Sabha is 5 years. It is not mentioned in some article that the tenure of MP of Lok Sabha is 5 years. What is mentioned is that the tenure of house is 5 years. Okay. For Rajya Sabha, of course, we know that Rajya Sabha never gets dissolved. Rajya Sabha never dissolved, and Rajya Sabha is referred to as a continuing chamber, meaning this house continues. At no point of time will all the members get removed, right? So what happens in Rajya Sabha is the tenure of every MP of Rajya Sabha is 6 years. Basically, after every 2 years, 1/3 MPs, they will retire and new 1/3 people come. So the rotation keeps on happening and their tenure is 6 years. Where is this mentioned? This is actually mentioned under RPA. Section 154 of RPA 1951. So when I mention RPA, there is no need to mug up all these sections and all. But you need to know this information, that this information is not mentioned in the constitution. Okay, because they may ask you a statement, they love asking these statements in recent times. As per the constitution, the tenure of MP of Rajya Sabha is 6 years. Yes or no? Of course not. Not as per constitution, as per RPA 1951. That's the point here. Okay. And of course, every MP is eligible for re-election any number of times. So MPs are eligible for re-election, or not just re-election, or re-nomination any number of times. And we have seen so many MPs, 5-time MP, 6-time MP, 7-time MP, that's there. Then oath, affirmation. MPs have to take an oath or an affirmation. That oath is mentioned where? In Schedule 3 of the Indian Constitution. Okay. Then when it comes to salaries and allowances of our MPs, so salary and allowances of MPs, it is determined by Parliament only. So our great MPs decide their own salary. By law, they make a law and the salary is decided by them. This is mentioned under Article 106, and this is the law. So at any point of time, if you have to modify the salary, the allowances, the pensions of, and mind you, MPs receive pension also. Okay. So even if you have been an MP for a single day, you will receive pension for life. And if you were an MLA and you are an MP, you will get the pension of MLA also and MP also separately. Okay. See, and basically, every member of the house gets the same kind of salary, whether you are minister or non-minister. Salary is the same. It is just that ministers get additional allowances. That's it. So salary of MLA, salary of MP and the ministers is the same salary, because everyone gets salary of MP only 1 lakh rupees. Plus you have something called constituency allowance of 6,000 rupees. And then you have other kind of things like allowances like traveling allowance, transit accommodation, free air ticket, train ticket, right? Then telephone bill, house rent. You are also given vehicle loan. I think the maximum limit is 4 lakh rupees. You can get vehicle loan also. So all these things are there. Now, their salary increases every 5 years based on the cost inflation index. So salaries increase every 5 years based on cost inflation index. You have just finished your economics classes, so you'd know cost inflation. So basically, based on inflation, their salary keeps on increasing every 5 years. The one very important thing is that salaries are determined by the parliament through a law, but allowances also were to be decided by parliament only. But what has happened is, this allowance, what is allowance? See, salary is the amount you are getting. Allowance is the additional benefits you get. Perquisites, perks, right? Telephone bill, mobile bill, housekeeping bill, all these things, house rent, these are perks. So when you're an IS officer, you'll get the salary every month in your account. Plus, you have so many allowances. You're getting a bungalow, rent-free bungalow. You are getting cook, carpenter, gardener, driver, car, petrol cost. These are allowances. Allowances are decided by the parliament, or sorry, government. Modified by government, not the parliament. Since 1985. So parliament has allowed the government to, from time to time, modify the allowances received by the MPs. And how will the salary increase? If you want to increase salary in between only, what is the method? So to increase the salary, what is done? A joint committee is formed. What is the task of this joint committee? This joint committee has Lok Sabha, 10 MPs, Rajya Sabha, 5 MPs, hence called a joint committee. This joint committee will give recommendation to Government of India, and then Government of India will bring a bill, and Parliament, that is the legislature, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, approve, and the salary is modified. This is how the salaries get modified for the parliament. See, one more thing. Please don't feel that this is very harsh getting pension and all, because see, how many, if I ask you a simple question, how many MPs in Lok Sabha have been there since independence? Not forget who are alive since independence. Less than 6,000. Roughly 5,140-50 MPs have been there since independence. So it's a very small number. And their pension is also very small, 50,000 rupees. So don't be too angry and all. If you compare it to government employee, even as we speak, there are 32 lakh central government employees only in the country, just central government. Once they retire, so pension under the new pension scheme and all, so that is there. So this is a very small amount. India is too big to worry about all these petty expenses. Don't worry. Okay. So that is there with respect to the salaries and allowances. Okay. Now coming to presiding officers. Nitesh, can sessions start on Sunday? Sessions can't start on Sunday. Sessions start on Monday only. Sunday is holiday. Anshu, MLC versus MLA, they belong to two different houses. We'll discuss this under the state legislatures. How many times re-election? If the seat is vacant, re-elections will keep on happening any number of times. Minister gets salary as MP, yes, of course. Pension of MLAs and MPs, why central government is not converting in as NPS? Now that is for the central government to decide. What is under Schedule 2? Under Schedule 2 is the names of certain people whose salaries is specifically mentioned there. That is Schedule 2. To change salaries and allowances, amendment is required in the Act. Amendment or other modification of the Act? Yes, of course. Number of members is fixed. Who is going to be a member is not fixed. The bill would be very easily passed. Of course, the bill will be passed very easily. Pension is not mentioned. No, pension is not mentioned in the Constitution. When a current salary of IAS officer, it depends on which state and city you're posted allowances, you will get a roughly after getting your confirmation, not in your probation days in Labasta and all. In Labasna, you are getting something around 40,000 rupees only. You'll get roughly around 70,000 rupees in hand as cash. I mean, in your account after all the deductions, around 70,000 rupees. But then why you worried about salary? You are joining the service to serve the nation, right? So that's it. Okay. That is there. Are positions of presiding office in parliament, office of profit, these are all exemptions from office of profit. Exemptions from office of profit, not office of profit. Okay. Now, let us look into the presiding officers. As far as presiding officers are concerned, who is a presiding officer? Monitor, boss of the house, the head of the house, right? The presiding officer, think of them as monitor of the house. So for each house, that is Lok Sabha separately, Raj Sabha separately, we have a presiding officer. In the Lok Sabha, the speaker is the presiding officer. So in the Lok Sabha, the presiding officer is called the speaker. In the Raj Sabha, the presiding officer is called the chairman. There is a small difference. This person who is the chairman is also, I'm sure you're aware, the vice president of India. And since he is a vice president of India, he cannot be an MP, MLA, MLC. So, chairman of Rajya Sabha is not a member of Rajya Sabha. Right? But the speaker of Lok Sabha must be a member of Lok Sabha. Must be member of Lok Sabha. Right? That's there. Now, coming to the speaker first. Who is this person called the speaker? So, a speaker, as I said, is a presiding officer of the Lok Sabha. And how is he elected? So, all the members from amongst themselves will vote and choose somebody as a speaker. That is how the speaker is elected. The procedure that I have mentioned here is mentioned under Article 94, that members choose from amongst themselves. That is why speaker always has to be a member of the house, because to be chosen for the post of speaker, you have to be an MP of Lok Sabha, right? And how are they removed? They are removed by an effective majority. What is effective majority? Do you remember? Total strength or total membership minus vacancy. Effective means total strength minus vacancy. This is what is called effective. Of course, speaker can also resign. Don't feel they can't resign. They may resign. You have to submit resignation to the deputy speaker. There is also a post called deputy speaker. If speaker is not there, he can take up the task of running the house, deputy speaker. A couple of more things. In case you want to contest for elections or the post of speaker, somebody has to propose your name. So we require one proposer, one seconder. To contest, one proposer, one. This is required. Okay. You can't propose your own name, mind you, please. You cannot propose your own name. Don't think that you can propose your own name. That's not allowed. It's very clearly mentioned in the Lok Sabha rules. You can't propose your own name. One more thing. See, whenever the parliament is dissolved, I think I mentioned this point yesterday also and before that also, that all these important dignitaries, they don't resign immediately. Okay. So if the Lok Sabha gets dissolved, speaker will not resign. He continues till the new Lok Sabha gets elected, right? So this works here also. Does not resign immediately, that is after the Lok Sabha is dissolved. immediately after Lok Sabha is dissolved. Okay, he continues to be in the post till the new Lok Sabha is elected. Okay, this is the speaker. Now, there is basically there is no law or nothing mentioned anywhere, but as a matter of convention, speaker always belongs to ruling party. What is convention? Custom. Belongs to ruling party. Which is a ruling party right now? BJP is the ruling party. So speaker belongs to BJP. Who is the speaker? This person is Mr. Om Birla. He is an MP from Kota constituency and he belongs to BJP. Okay. Now, one more important term that you may come across is something called speaker pro tempore or speaker pro tem. What is this speaker pro tempore? Speaker pro tem or pro tempore, same thing. Basically, pro tempore actually means, this is a Latin phrase which means for the time being. So what is this concept of speaker pro tempore? Now think of a simple example. In 2024, right, elections will take place. Om Birla will continue to be a speaker till the new house is elected. Once new Lok Sabha is formed, new Lok Sabha, all the MPs, newly elected MPs. Okay. Now, once the MPs have been elected, they have to choose from amongst themselves somebody who becomes a speaker. They have to vote. Vote to choose speaker. Right? But for voting, what is required? For voting, oath is required. MPs have to take an oath before they can start their task in the parliament. But oath is administered by whom? By the speaker. But there is no speaker. Speaker is not there. We have to choose a speaker. But to choose a speaker, we have to vote. But for voting, we have to take an oath. But for oath, we need a speaker. But there is no speaker. This cycle is there. What do we do now? So for this only, what we do is we choose some random person as a temporary speaker, speaker pro tempore for the time being. That is why pro tempore. So for a temporary period, we choose somebody as a speaker. So this person, now, as a matter of convention, normally the senior most MP is chosen. Usually, senior most MP in the Lok Sabha. Now, please let me clarify. Senior most MP does not mean by age. No, senior most means who has been in the Lok Sabha for the longest period of time, who has been the member of Lok Sabha for the longest period of time. For example, Rahul Gandhi is a senior member to Amit Shah. Rahul Gandhi has been a member of Lok Sabha way longer than Mr. Amit Shah. Amit Shah is not a very senior MP of Lok Sabha because he got elected to Lok Sabha only in 2017 in Rajya Sabha. In 2019 in the Lok Sabha. So seniority is based on how much time have you been spending in the Lok Sabha as a member. For example, in 2019, what is this person's name from Tikamgarh in Madhya Pradesh? He was an MP, Virendra Kumar. Virendra Kumar was a 7-time MP and he became the Speaker pro tempore. So Speaker pro tempore is the senior most MP, meaning somebody who has been the MP for the longest period of time. Now, what is a function? So who chooses this person? Chosen or appointed by president. This is just a formal appointment. Senior most person is directly appointed. And oath to this person is administered by the president only. And what is the function that he has to perform? Two functions. Number one, administer oath to all newly elected MPs, and number two, also conducting election for new speaker. Conducting election for new speaker. Once the new speaker is elected by the people, then the speaker pro tempore goes and sits quietly in his seat, never to ever be bothered again. Now, can he contest? Of course, he can contest. Who is stopping you? Anybody can contest. But basically, since the ruling party wants their person to be a member, to be a speaker, and speaker pro tempore is just chance, because who is a senior party member? Anybody can be a senior party, a senior Lok Sabha member. So it may not always be the case, right? So that is why normally speaker pro tempores are never elected for the post of speaker. That is there with respect to the election and the removal of the speaker. Okay, and this is how we have the convention of choosing somebody to tide over this. Okay. So speaker pro tempore can be any person from the ruling party. He has no function only. Why should we be bothered also about him? He has to simply administer the oath. And please understand, now if you look at say some YouTube videos on administering the oath, then you will find that a lot of MPs are administering the oath. What is this oath? You read the oath and the new MP will also read the oath. Now, please be realistic. One speaker pro tempore, do you expect him to read the oath 542 times for the new MPs? He'll die only. He'll commit suicide, right? So what he does is, he will administer oath to 20-30 people. Some new person is chosen, and then he administers the oath to next 20-30 people. New person is chosen, and he administers oath to next 20-30 people. That is how it is done. A single person cannot administer oath to so many people. Please be realistic, right? So if you find that there are many people who are administering oath, it is just for easing the task of this person. If he is asked to read for 100, 500 times, he will die there only, simply speaking, for 10-15 days. So that's it. Okay. So this is there with respect to the speaker's election. Now, coming to the functions performed by speaker. So speaker has a very, very important role to perform. Speaker is the boss of the house, right? This means that the very important task of the speaker is to maintain order and decorum in the house, right? So he maintains order and decorum in the house for conducting its business and regulating the proceedings. Basically, the speaker is the one who runs the house. The speaker will allow you, and only then can you speak in the house. Otherwise, keep on shouting, nothing goes on record. So, the speaker will use this term, nothing is going on record, please don't shout. Or if you use some unparliamentary language, then the speaker can simply say, I am removing this from records. So every day when the sitting takes place, whatever our great MPs speak is all recorded. You can access these from the National Archives and the Lok Sabha website. Every day's debate can be accessed. So things go on record when you speak in the house. only when the speaker has allowed you to speak. Otherwise, you keep on shouting, passing comments, nobody cares, right? So that is there. Now, second thing, within the house, speaker is the boss. If speaker is the boss, then the speaker is the one who finally interprets every rule, every regulation, every convention, even the constitution. So he is the final interpreter of the provisions of Constitution of India also, but within the house. Because see, outside the house, the Supreme Court is the final interpreter, but inside the house, speaker is the boss. Within the house, he is the boss. Okay. Then rules of procedure and conduct of business of Lok Sabha. So see, every house has some rules that they use or that they follow in the day-to-day administration of the house. Like the country has a rule book called the Constitution. Similarly, Lok Sabha also has a rule book. That rule book is called Lok Sabha rules. I mean, it is actually called the Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business in the Lok Sabha, but the short name for it is Lok Sabha Rules. Similarly, Raj Sabha has a rule book called Raj Sabha Rules. Whichever state you belong to, UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Mizoram, Nagaland, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, MP, we don't care. Every state has an assembly. In that assembly, you will have a rules book called the Madhya Pradesh Assembly Rules, Tamil Nadu Assembly Rules, Andhra Pradesh Assembly Rules. Every state has its own assembly rule book. Same goes for Lok Sabha also, Lok Sabha rules. Who interprets those rules? The speaker. Final decision on what is the meaning of all these things. Then he adjourns the house. Remember adjournment? Adjournment is ending what? Ending of the sitting. So adjournment refers to ending the sitting. So he adjourns the sitting of the house or suspends the meeting in the absence of quorum. So think of it. Let's say the speaker, or in the class also, if say in your school days, if you remember, mass bunking, college days, you'd plan for a mass bunking, but some people will always go to class. Those toppers, teachers favorites will go to the class, but the whole concept of mass bunking is based on a simple strategy. If only 2 or 3 people go to the class, the teacher will be forced into canceling the class. That's the whole point. Same thing here. There's something called quorum. Article 100 talks about quorum. What is quorum? Quorum is the minimum number of MPs required for the house to function. Quorum refers to minimum number of MPs required for sitting to be conducted. So how many MPs are required to be in the house at any point of time, and only then will the sitting be conducted? So this quorum is basically 1/10 of total strength. So if 10% people are there in the house, for example, in Lok Sabha, what is total strength? 543, 10%, 54.3. We can't have 0.3 human being, 55. In Rajya Sabha, total strength 245, 10%, 24.5. We can't have 0.5 human being, 25. This is the quorum. Meaning, if you don't have these many people, then the sitting of the day is suspended and mass bunking has happened successfully. Speaker says, okay, go home, let's come tomorrow. That's there. Then, speaker never casts his vote. Not allowed. Speaker is not allowed to vote only in the house on any proposal. But we have given them a very unique option called casting vote. Casting vote is basically called a tiebreaker. In case, let's say there's a bill, example, triple talaq bill. Now this is already an act, but let's assume a bill is there, triple talaq bill. 200 MPs are saying yes. 200 MPs are saying no. In this case, what does this is called a tie. Then the speaker will be allowed to vote to break the tiebreaker. That's it. Otherwise, speaker is not allowed to vote in the house. You have to be independent, neutral. If you are voting, then you are supporting some party. So you have to be neutral. That is there. Now, also, there is something called joint sitting. We'll discuss it today only. What is joint sitting? The speaker presides over joint sitting of the two houses of parliament in case of the passage of bill is there. Article 108 will discuss shortly what is joint sitting in the house. Then he can also allow for a secret sitting of the house. What is secret sitting? Secret sitting means outsiders not allowed. So in the house, you have the media persons in the gallery sitting and watching recording sessions. But sometimes we require a secret sitting. For example, there is some very important discussion going on. Let's say India is planning to attack, say, China. But we don't want the public to know of all this, because if you inform the public, there could be a lot of hula balu in the country. There could be huge havoc in the country on what is going to happen and all. So the government thinks, let us discuss with the MPs first what to do, and then we'll inform the public. So there we can have a secret sitting also. It has not happened. It has happened in case of some state like Madhya Pradesh. MP once had a secret sitting on how to deal with the Maoist issues in their own state. Then there is something called money bill. We'll discuss this also later on, hopefully today only. Speaker decides whether a bill is a money bill or not, and his decision on this question is final. Whether a bill is an ordinary bill or a money bill, who decides? Speaker decides. It's his sole prerogative. In fact, the constitution says that the speaker's decision is final beyond questioning. But Supreme Court is Supreme Court. Supreme Court says nothing is final until we say so. And Supreme Court has interfered here also. So way back in 2007, in Raja Rampal case, Supreme Court said that if the speaker deliberately is trying to categorize a bill as money bill, even though it is not, then we can question it. For example, Aadhaar bill. A very famous case is Aadhaar bill. Aadhaar bill was actually deemed to be a money bill, but a lot of people questioned it, and the matter went to court. And finally, court decided it. Yes, Aadhaar bill is a money bill. Now that matter is still pending in front of bench. Review petition has been filed on Aadhaar bill. So that is there. So the speaker decides whether a bill is a money bill or not. But since 2007, Supreme Court has said the decision of the speaker can be challenged in case of substantive. What is substantive? Substantive means meaningful. Substantive refers to, it's an English word, meaningful. Substantive illegality. If the decision of speaker is genuinely illegal or unconstitutional, then we can challenge it. Supreme Court interferes here, there, everywhere, but nobody can interfere in Supreme Court. That's the beauty of Supreme Court. Then he decides the questions of disqualification of an MP arising on the ground of defection. So we have seen disqualifications recently: citizenship, office of profit, bankruptcy, unsound mind. Who decides that? The president. But there is one disqualification which the presiding officer decides. We'll discuss that towards the end of the chapter Parliament. That is called defection, and we'll discuss it separately. Anti-defection law. So ignore it as of now. There is something called anti-defection law, wherein the speaker or the chairman will decide on disqualification. If you change your party, what is defect? Defection, changing loyalties, right? That is called defection. So if you change your party, who will disqualify you? The speaker will disqualify you. Okay, that's there. Okay, so that is there as far as the functions of the speaker is concerned. Now, in our country, we have taken a lot of steps to ensure the independence of speaker in India. A lot of steps have been taken. Very simple thing is, because see, we want the speaker to be independent, right? Because if the speaker is unbiased, right? If the speaker is unbiased, the house can function very, very effectively. Everybody gets a chance. MPs ask questions from the government, difficult questions. Government has to respond, be held accountable. But if the speaker is biased in favor of ruling party, then they will never give the opposition the adequate opportunity to raise the questions of public importance, to raise our questions against the government, right? That's there. So the constitution itself has allowed for specific provisions to ensure that the speakers are unbiased. For example, the process of removal is difficult. It is an effective majority. It is not some simple kind of majority. That's a difficult process of removal. Then whatever salary or allowances the speaker receives, they are all charged. What do you mean by charge expenditure? Previous class. No voting, only discussion. Any expenditure charged on CFI is not voted upon. You can discuss, you can't reduce it. Then you cannot discuss or criticize the conduct of speaker in the house. Of course, when the removal is going on, then you can criticize his conduct. But otherwise, you can't. You can't get up and say, Speaker, I want to criticize your behavior only. What nonsense is this? How do you talk and laugh and smile? I hate you. No, you can't say all this to speaker. In fact, misbehavior with speaker, right, can amount to disqualification also. Are you clear? Some of our MPs, behave in a very unique kind of fashion. There was an MP recently. He was under a some kind of hate speech case also going on. Azam Khan. A few years back in the Rajya Sabha, when he was an MP, he made a remark. So there was a lady who was presiding over the house on that day because of absence of some the chairperson, deputy chairperson. So she was acting as a presiding officer in the Rajya Sabha, and he made some remark that, "Madam, I am lost in your beautiful eyes." He's flirting in the house. I mean, what kind of behavior is this? You are a representative of the people. This is how you behave. Passing sexist remarks in the house. This is the decorum of the house. And these are the leaders that we choose and elect, directly or indirectly. What can we say? Who pass such kind of sexist remarks in the house? They do not respect the decorum of the house also. That's a very pious place, right? But they don't respect all this. So if you do all this kind of nonsensical activity in the house, you can be disqualified also. Then speakers don't get a chance to vote. They only have something called a casting vote. That is a tiebreaker. So if there is a tie, then they vote. Otherwise, they don't vote. And you don't know what is Schedule 10. I was discussing that only, something called anti-defection law. Don't worry, we'll discuss this once we study the chapter Parliament. So, in short, what happens is that you cannot leave your party after you win the elections, but speakers are allowed to leave their party after winning the elections. In fact, we promote this kind of behavior, that please leave the party. If you leave the party after winning elections, we see it a mark of independence, that you have left the party only and now you are an independent person. But other MPs can't leave their party after winning the elections. That is called defection. So that is not allowed. But for speaker, it is allowed. More on this when we study anti-defection law. Don't worry. That is there with respect to the speaker of the Lok Sabha. Right? Let's do one thing. Let's take a break. After break, we'll see that in UK, there are two very interesting things that are done to further enhance the independence of speaker. Okay. And then we'll also look into what steps we can take to further ensure that the speakers act independently, what steps can be taken to further ensure the independence of the speaker? Okay, a short break, be back at 11:40, and then we'll continue our discussion further. Break, please. Okay, so let's continue. Can speaker prorogue the session? Why will the speaker prorogue the session? Proroguing the session is done by the president only. Speaker will only adjourn the session. Government Office of Profit versus Private Layoff. Yaram City, I did not understand what the doubt is. Please explain, elaborate. Deepak, is it mandatory for speaker to resign? No, it's an option given for speaker to resign. If he wants to, he can resign. Nobody is stopping him. In fact, we would prefer him to resign. Nitesh, if the speaker of ruling party, suppose there is a tie and he casts his vote in opposition to his party so as being member and not following the whip. Okay. Nitesh, please read the line. Speaker is exempted from Schedule 10. Whips don't apply to speaker. Am I audible now, guys? Oh, okay. So as I was saying, I'm not really sure what is this government office of profit and private layoff relationship. Private layoff basically means that people are being removed. Their services are being terminated from a private company. That's it. Okay, great. Uh, Sushmit, I think the doubt was addressed. What does the old speaker do when he doesn't resign? The old speaker will only continue till the newly elected house comes into picture. That's it. Once it's like a gap, vacuum cannot be accepted. So the old speaker only continues till the new Lok Sabha is elected. For that small time being, that old speaker is there. It is not that he continues to be a speaker forever. That's not the case. What else do we have? Nitesh, address speaker cannot prorogue the session. Is it mandatory for speaker to resign? Deepak, of course not. It is not mandatory for speaker to resign, but we would prefer if he resign. It would be nice. Non-member ministers are allowed in secret sitting. Yes, of course, ministers are allowed in secret sittings. If he resigns from MP to be Lok Sabha speaker, resigns from MP, why will he resign from the post of MP to be Lok Sabha speaker? He only resigns from party membership. Party membership is different from your post of MP in the Lok Sabha. He never resigns from post of MP. Can sitting speaker contest next election? Sitting speaker can, there's nothing called sitting speaker because your post is over the moment the newly elected Lok Sabha meets. Just before that, your task is over. So now there is no speaker in the Lok Sabha. So we can't call him a sitting speaker. But any person can contest as long as he's a member of the house. That's the question, Abhijit. It is not got to do anything with what is the situation. The real meaning here is if you are a member of the house, you can contest elections for the post of speaker. That's it. Yaram City, common people can allow in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. Yes, yes. In which article they may be allowed? There is no article which says that common people can go and sit. No, it is just that if you take the permission of the officers there, authorities there, you can be allowed to sit in the, not sit besides the Prime Minister only, sit in the galleries and watch the session. Don't think and walk into the house and say, hello PM, hi Home Minister, hello opposition leader. No, of course not. You can sit in the galleries and watch. That's it. There's no article for this. What's the need of speaker when Lok Sabha dissolved? Vacuum. Vacuum cannot be there. We have to have posts everywhere, and sometimes speaker is required uh, to perform certain kind of activities. So that is the reason why vacuum can never be created. What if there's an emergency only? We have to connect some session in between. Possible, right? So vacuum cannot be there. Shalu, yes, we had discussed yesterday only. Minister's oath is administered by President only. Neil, Om Birla has not resigned from BJP. Sorry. Om Birla represents a constituency. Very fair question and above that he represents Kota constituency from in Rajasthan. And if you are a speaker, you also have your task to represent your constituency. So he himself is representing Kota. So in case he has any kind of concerns, etc., he can give it to the government and the government can look into the concerns. That's it. Serving in central government, you'll have to resign from your job once you get elected. Shalu, point of independence. Of course, all these points are mentioned in the constitution. Is speaker allowed to vote in the elections? Yes, of course. Can speaker get re-elected? Again, re-election means what? A speaker who was in the previous term of speaker can again get re-elected, of course. Yes, Vipin addressed your doubt that if you are in the central services, state services, whatever service, we don't care. You have to resign before you become the member of parliament. That's it. That is why, you know, all these IS officers, they resign and then start their political career, right? Yes, speaker's oath is given by the president. Now, coming to our independence of speaker. So as we are discussing about the independence of speakers in UK. So in UK, since we have largely drawn inspiration from UK in the parliamentary setup that we have. So in UK, they have two very interesting concepts. One is very simple. To maintain the independence and also this impartial behavior of speaker, in UK, it is just a convention that once any person becomes a speaker, he or she resigns from his party membership. Okay. So once you become a speaker, you'll resign from your party so that you are no longer attached or associated to any party. And even the opposition members have this feeling that he or she is a neutral person. That's there. Number two. Very interesting. Now think of the situation. Om Birla is the speaker of Lok Sabha right now in our country, right? In 2024, let's say, magically, Congress comes to power. See, let me clarify. When I say magically Congress comes to power, I just believe that it is extremely unlikely. I have nothing untoward against Congress. So Congress fans, don't be angry. I'm not some BJP fan and all. And for all of us, our loyalty should only be towards the country and the nation. Whoever supports nation building, we are all up for you. If you are against the nation building, we are so sorry. We'll have to be against you. That should be the criteria for every individual in this country, right? So anyway, so let's say magically Congress comes to power. Now, of course, as a matter of convention, we follow that the ruling party should get the post. Ruling party will choose their person. What if in India we had a provision that no, the previous speaker Om Birla, he should continue to be the speaker till he or she feels fit. Whether it is BJP in power, Congress in power, BRS in power, Aam Aadmi Party in power, Biju Janata Dal in power, DMK in power, NPP in power, we don't care. Om Birla will remain the speaker till he wants to. Now, this is what is called once a speaker, always a speaker. This is not there in India. I'm repeating, this is not there in India. It is there in UK. In UK, they have a concept of once a speaker, always a speaker. House of Commons, it is their lower house. Like we have Lok Sabha, in UK, they call it House of Commons. So in the House of Commons in the UK, they re-elect speakers who desire to continue office more than one term. So if Om Birla, if we have this provision in India, then it would be like Om Birla says, please make me speaker again. I want to enjoy this post. And then MP say, okay, sir, no problem. Even though Congress has won, sir, you continue to be the speaker. In this fashion, what happens is that the speakers become more independent in the sense that now he has got nothing towards BJP or Congress. Once you become speaker, you can continue to be a speaker as long as you want. Whether a party changes or not, you don't really care. So this is one way to ensure independence. These are both conventions and customs. Now, one very interesting point here is, see, to be a speaker of the Lok Sabha, what is the only criteria? The only criteria is that you have to be a member of the house. Now, think of this. In India, what happens is, let's say we have the same kind of post. Om Birla says, I want to be speaker next time also. Please make me speaker. Please make me speaker. We say, okay, no worries, sir. You become speaker. But for that, Om Birla has to be an MP in the Lok Sabha. But what if in 2024, Om Birla loses election from Kota and he cannot become MP only? Then how would we make him the speaker? Right? So for you to become speaker again, the biggest criteria is that you have to win your elections. But winning election can never be guaranteed. So how are they continuing this provision in UK? Are they guaranteeing somebody's victory? Of course not. Victory in election can never be guaranteed. Therein lies the problem. So in UK, what they do is, let's say speaker, whoever the speaker, has some constituency where he is contesting elections from. So in UK, that constituency from where speaker is contesting is reserved, meaning no other person is allowed to contest from that constituency only. So speaker gets elected unopposed. This is actually a problem. See, you are a speaker, but you're also an MP from a constituency. What if people of your constituency are not happy with the performance of your tasks? Then should they not have a chance to choose somebody else? But now nobody is contesting from that area only. Why? Because we want the speaker to be re-elected. In fact, in UK, they call the constituency as a speaker seeking re-election constituency. And no major party sends its candidate to contest from that post. That is it. Imagine if in our country this happens, then from Kota, nobody will contest. Om Birla seat is reserved. Then we are also violating the democratic rights of people to choose their leader. That's there. So this may also not be seen right in our country. Idea is very nice that the speaker, to ensure independence, let one person be a speaker for as long as he wants to. But for that, we cannot guarantee your victory in the elections, and we cannot reserve constituencies. If you reserve constituencies, then this will violate the right of the voter in that constituency also, right? So that is there. Now, beyond this, what steps can we take in our country to further ensure independence of speaker? First up, now you will not understand this point. Let's leave this point for discussion under anti-defection law. Ignore the first point for now. Second point is something you would know. See, we want that the speaker should resign from his party. After getting elected, please resign from your party membership. You are an MP from Kota, that's it. Nothing else. See, it does not look nice. I'll tell you why. Om Birla is constantly seen attending BJP party meetings. If you're attending a BJP party meeting and then you come and sit as a speaker and try to act independently, Congress and other parties will not have faith in you. I'll tell you something. Justice should be done. It should also be seen to have been done. It is very, very important. So you may be fair, but at least people also want, the MPs there want you to be seen as fair. If yesterday only you are attending a BJP party meeting, then today you are sitting here, I will never have trust in you that, oh, he will be biased towards BJP party, BJP MPs in the Lok Sabha. So resign from your party. That is something that you can do. Then once you retire from the post of speaker, I think after appointment as speaker. So once you have been appointed as a speaker and your services are over after say 5 years, 6, whatever time, you should not be allowed to get any political post, right? That should be the end of your career. You have to make a choice, because if that scope is still open, then you will always take steps to favor the ruling party. Why? Because you know very well, next time the ruling party can make me minister also, make me home minister also, right? So you'll always keep that window open to favor the ruling party. We want to shut down the window only. Once you have become the speaker, extremely sorry, no political posts for you. And normally, as I said, ideally you should not associate yourself with party activities. So party meetings are happening and all, don't go and sit there. Be more independent, and at least come off as independent. You should come across completely as independent. So we want you to disassociate yourself from the day-to-day party activities that take place in the what, in the in your party meeting is there, on how to win the next election, all these things. So please avoid all these things. These things are never appreciated by the people in the opposition, because they will never be able to view you as an independent person. So these are steps that can be taken to further ensure the independence of the speaker. Okay, that is it. In fact, this once a speaker, always a speaker, this concept was actually suggested by our very first speaker, G. Mavlankar. He said that let's have this provision because he was a speaker at that point of time. Maybe he wanted to ensure his re-election. No, that is not the case. Then, but then the Congress Working Committee in 1954, I believe, said, sorry, sir, we can't have this in the country because voting rights of people will also get violated, because we cannot guarantee somebody's election victory. That's there. Okay. Now, beyond the post of speaker, we have somebody called a deputy speaker. It is also a constitutional post mentioned in the constitution only. Appointment and removal. Appointment meaning the election, and removal are analogous. What is analogous? Analogous means similar to that of the speaker. Meaning what? You are elected by the members of the house, and you can be removed by an effective majority, just like the speaker. There is only one condition: the date of election for deputy speaker is fixed by speaker. So the speaker decides on the date of election of deputy speaker, and deputy speaker is ideally from the opposition party. So as a matter of convention, let's not write ideally, let's write since 1996. Since 1996 from opposition party. So there is now a convention, a practice that speaker from ruling party, deputy speaker from what? Opposition party. And who is the deputy speaker? Basically, if the speaker is ill, not well, could not come to the house, is busy somewhere, some family function is there, right? Then somebody should be there to take care of the house. Deputy speaker. So he acts as a speaker when the speaker is absent. And when the deputy speaker becomes the speaker, then he enjoys all the powers, all the privileges, all the benefits as a speaker. He has full authority and he is the acting speaker, right? Otherwise, if the speaker is there, then deputy speaker is a normal MP of the house, no special powers to him. Okay. Now, there's one special provision for deputy speaker is that whenever deputy speaker is appointed as a member of a parliamentary committee, so we'll be studying parliamentary committees later on, he or she automatically becomes the chairman of that parliamentary committee. Parliamentary committee comprising of MPs. If any committee is made consisting of MPs where the deputy speaker is a member, then he or she will automatically become the chairperson of that committee. That's the only advantage. Otherwise, there is no such advantage. And to tell you frankly, as of now, we don't have a deputy speaker. The BJP has not even, no, they are completely, shaming the Congress by saying, we will not give you deputy speaker also. Ideally, the date of decision of the date of election of deputy speaker should be decided by the speaker, but speaker has not fixed any date for election of deputy speaker. So we don't have a deputy speaker right now. So what happens if Om Birla falls ill, is sick, right? So he will not come crawling there and sit in the house and all. So of course there is some provision. What is the provision? The provision is that, see, you have a speaker. If speaker is not there, then you have a deputy speaker. If deputy speaker is not there, then what do you have? There are a group of people called panel of, so there is a group of people called panel of chairpersons. Maximum 10. Who are these panel of chairpersons? These people are basically MPs only of the house. MPs of Lok Sabha chosen by speaker. In case speaker is not there, deputy speaker is not there, then we have something called panel of chairpersons. There are 10 people randomly chosen from various parties, and they are given order also that if I am not there, you become the speaker. If you are not there, you become the speaker. If you're not there, you become the speaker. If you're not there, you become the speaker. So maximum 10 people are given the responsibility that if some person who is senior to them is not there, then they can become the speaker for that day or for that time period. So this is how the panel of chairpersons is chosen by the speaker. Okay. So this is called the panel of chairpersons. That is how it is. What if they are also not there, all 10 people? So as of now, we don't know what will happen. If 10 people are all missing, then what is happened to all these people? That's a bigger concern for us. Where are all these MPs going? So as of now, if all these people are not there, then we will have to think on what to do. Similarly, okay, solve this question first. Came in 2022. Oh, I'll forgot. I'll start a poll. I'll give you a minute of time. Solve this. Done. Okay, great. 65% got this answer correct. Amazing. Let's look at the options. As per the rules of procedure and conduct of business in Lok Sabha, the election of the deputy speaker shall be held on such date as speaker may fix. Okay, this is correct. One is correct. Remove this. Remove this. So 3 has to be correct. Anyway, what is 3? The deputy speaker has the same power as the speaker when presiding over the sitting of the house, and no appeal lies against his rulings. When he makes a ruling, when he gives an order, you can't question the order. Okay, correct. Let's look at 2. There is a mandatory provision that firstly it's a convention, nothing is mandatory. Mandatory provision that election of candidate as deputy speaker shall be from either the principal opposition party or the ruling party. It is from the opposition party, not ruling party. And what is this mandatory? Nothing is mandatory. It's a convention. So 2 is wrong. If 2 is wrong, this is wrong. A is the right answer. Let's look at 4 also. The well-established parliamentary practice regarding the appointment of deputy speaker is that the motion is moved by speaker and duly seconded by prime minister. Nonsense, utter nonsense. Whenever they have these kind of statements, the well-established parliamentary practice, there is nothing like this, right? So in most cases, this will be wrong only. 4 is any which way incorrect. That's it with respect to the speaker and deputy speaker. Just like that, we have the person called the chairman of Rajya Sabha. And what to study here? The chairman of Rajya Sabha, you know very well, is the vice president of India. Article 64, Article 89, both say the same thing. And basically, the chairman of Rajya Sabha has the exact same functions to perform in the Rajya Sabha that the speaker performs in the Lok Sabha, right? And here also, we have the concept of deputy chairperson. After chairman, you have somebody called a deputy chairman. Election and removal, same as speaker, but in Rajya Sabha, of course. So deputy chairman is actually a member of Rajya Sabha. Let me repeat. Speaker of Lok Sabha is an MP of Lok Sabha. Deputy Speaker of Lok Sabha is an MP of Lok Sabha. Chairman of Rajya Sabha is not a member of Rajya Sabha. He is a Vice President of India. But Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha is a member of Rajya Sabha. Okay, and Deputy Chairman's post is important because the Chairman is the Vice President, and Vice President has a lot of ceremonial functions to perform. Some foreign dignitaries have come, he has to go and attend them, right? Meet them, travel to various countries in conferences and all. So, see, Speaker's only task is to manage the House, but the Chairman is also the VP of India, so he has other tasks also, right? And that is why it is very important to have a deputy chairperson in the Rajya Sabha. So Harivansh Narayan Singh is currently the deputy chairperson of Rajya Sabha. Normally they belong to the ruling party only. And if he or she is not there, here also we have the same concept, panel of vice chairpersons. Same thing, maximum 10 MPs of Rajya Sabha, and they are chosen by chairman. Okay, so that is there with respect to the chairman of Rajya Sabha. Okay, so that is there as far as the chairman is concerned. We are done with the presiding officers. Now, please understand the chairman of Rajya Sabha does not have two powers. One, the chairman of Rajya Sabha will not decide on money bills. He enjoys similar powers in Rajya Sabha as those enjoyed by Speaker in Lok Sabha, except on money bills. Why? Because money bills are decided by Speaker. And number two, joint sittings. Who presides over a joint sitting? Joint sittings are presided over by presided over by speaker. 2 points of difference. Otherwise, all the functions you have seen are exactly the same for the what? Chairperson of Rajya Sabha also in the Rajya Sabha. That's it. So this is with respect to the presiding officers of the houses. Okay, how to elect deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha? Same thing, Arvind. All the members of the house, the Rajya Sabha, will from amongst themselves choose somebody to become a deputy chairperson of Rajya Sabha. Okay. Now, let us continue and come to our discussion on the voting in the parliament. So, what is this voting in the parliament? See, after all, the whole purpose of the parliament or this group of people, all the MPs, is to decide on matters, bills, proposals, etc. And only after they decide collectively and approve of something, that bill is passed and becomes an act and a law, etc. So for that, voting has to take place. Now, what is this provision of voting? So voting can be of two kinds. Firstly, voting only allowed when quorum is complete. What is quorum? Quorum is 1/10 of the total number of members are present. Only then is the voting allowed. Otherwise, voting is not allowed. In fact, sitting will not take place. So voting can only take place if we have at least 55 MPs in Lok Sabha and 25 MPs in the Rajya Sabha. Okay. Now, voting can be of two kinds. Informal voting. Think of this. So now this is an online class, so I don't really, I'm not able to hear you what you say. But normally when I teach a topic in the class, also in the school days, when we used to teach a topic, the teachers used to teach us a topic, they would ask, did you guys understand? And you'd say yes. Teacher would not say, come on, raise your hands, all those have understood. Only maybe in extreme situations. If you did not speak anything, if you are quiet, then teacher was confused. Did they understand or not? Should I teach again? Should I explain again? Then maybe the teacher would ask, please raise your hands. How many of you did not understand? Otherwise, in general, we simply ask people, if they say yes, if few people say yes, it's okay. We say yes, understood. Same thing happens in the parliament also. For everything, you can't have voting and all. So what is happening in the parliament is voice vote. So voice vote means you will say yes or no. Let's say there is a proposal, a bill, citizenship amendment bill. Speaker of the Lok Sabha or chairman of Rajya Sabha, he will ask, so guys, we have discussed on the bill. He won't say guys. Members, we have discussed on the bill. Now I am putting the matter to vote. Should we pass? How many of you say yes? And the MPs will shout, ayes. Ayes means yes. Ayes is yes. If the speaker feels or the chairman of Rajya Sabha feels that more people are shouting yes, bill is passed. That's it. This is called voice vote. And this is how 99% things take place in the parliament. So don't be surprised. What kind of passage of bill is this? This is how things are done. If he feels that there is some kind of confusion, right? Maybe the voice of no is equal to voice of yes. Then only will we allow for a formal kind of voting. Or if some MP says, sir, I want formal voting. What is this? Yes, no. I want formal voting. Then we use a machine. So on every seat of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, there is a machine called AVRE. It is nothing but a voting machine. The full form of AVRE is automated vote recording equipment. So this machine has 3 buttons. Uh, there is a green button which has yes, right? There is a red light which has no, and there is a yellow light which has abstain. Abstain means I am not going to vote. I am sitting there, but I am too shy to vote. I mean, not too shy, I don't want to vote only. Right? So abstain from voting. I will not mark my preference. Yes, no, I don't care. You know, in your surveys, you see, yes, no, can't say, abstain, can't say. Abstains are not counted. Okay. So, how does this process take place? So, in this process, what will happen is, if the MP says, sir, we want voice voting, machine voting, please, formal voting. Then the speaker says, okay, we'll have formal voting. Come on, clear the house, get back to your seats, everybody, get back. All the MPs go back to their seat, sitting in the seat. Then the announcement happens. We'll start the machine will get switched on for 30 seconds. Please press like the polling happens in the answers. 1 minute you will get the polling screen window, and then you can mark your answer. Same. For 30 seconds, machine is on. Please press the button within 30 seconds. And then after 30 seconds or 1 minute is over, buttons have been pressed. There also, our MPs have some problem. Sir, button is not working. Sir, by mistake I pressed other button. Such is the IQ level of our MPs that they cannot even press the correct button. Not all, sometimes, and a few of them. Sometimes they'll start banging, button is not working, button is not working. Some people try to press the button multiple times uselessly. You can only press it once. After button is pressed, right? After some time, there's a screen just like this on which the result is displayed. How many said yes, how many said no, and what is the result. Look at this situation. Why did we go for voice machine voting here? Wastage of time. 3 people are saying no. That is why whenever you have the machine voting, it wastes time. 2, 3, 4, up to 4, 5 minutes get wasted uselessly. And every day there are hundreds of things happening, right, in the parliament. For everything, we can't have a machine voting. Say 50 things have to be approved every day. 250 minutes will be wasted in voice machine voting only. That is why voice voting is done. As I said, 99% cases, voice voting is only done. Machine voting is very rare. And this concept of machine voting started basically in West Bengal. Started in West Bengal Assembly. So people from West Bengal can feel proud about this. 1950s. They had to install so many electric lines for voting and all. It is very difficult. Finally, in 1957, first time in the parliament. But at that point of time, you had to use both the hands to press the button. What if somebody else presses a button and runs away from there for you? So both buttons had to be pressed. Now this does not happen because all the MPs of one party sit together. So it won't happen that one Congress MP comes running and presses button and runs away. That won't happen. But that is how it was. This is called using the machine. Second thing is distribution of slips. So sometimes for certain voting in the parliament, we have ballot papers. Yes or no? Voting for president, voting for vice president. What happens there? There is no machine. Ballot paper is used. That is called distributing slips. Use of ballot paper. Elections for president, vice president. Now, there is also sometimes you'll hear this term called moving to galleries and collecting in groups. So basically, Earlier, now it does not happen. MPs, to showcase their strength, the speaker would say, okay, all those who say yes, stand here. Who say no, stand here. So it is just waste of time. Why will you leave your seat and go and stand there? You can simply sit on your seat and press the button. So now all those nonsense does not take place. Sit in your seat, press the button, that's it. Voting is registered, right? That is how the voting takes place in the parliament. Now, Rani, sir, can you please explain that there are 10 or 6 members for panel of chairpersons in Rajya Sabha? There are 10 members. We have to understand the nuances here. Maximum 10. Maximum 10 can be there. Currently, there are 6 people there, right? But the maximum people who can be chosen are 10. Anyway, coming to the voting now. So as I was saying, Shalu, can independent candidate can contest speaker seat in Britain? Yes, they can contest speaker seat, but who will vote for them? Vipin will address your concern once we study privilege motion. What you are asking is a type of privilege motion. Anyway, types of majorities in the Indian legislature. So think of this very simple situation. Let's say this is a class of 100 people. Let's assume. Total strength is 100. So 100 people joined the class. But what happened was couple of people, when they saw the syllabus only, they said, oh, sorry, by mistake I joined. Or maybe some people went to a foreign country, they got their visa, etc. Some people got enrolled in some other service, etc. So vacancy was created in some seats. Say 5 seats are vacant. Okay. And on any given day, 80 people are present. Say on today, last Saturday, 80 people were present. Now, this is the class. If I have to ask, say I am an outsider and I want to join Byju's, or if I'm an insider also, and as a manager here, I want to know how effective is the marketing team of Byju's. When you join Byju's, do they explain everything on how to join, when to join? Are the marketing team people call completely into joining Byju's or not? Are they calling you 20, 30, 40 times or not? That is what I have to observe. Whom do I ask? Right? On their performance. That did you get the calls sufficiently? Were you told on what are the things that you'll be offered, whether the joining system is easy or not? I'll ask all these 100 people because they had all joined Byju's at some point of time. But if I have to ask in general, what is the system like? What is the setup like? Are the teachers in general okay? Then I will ask those people, those 95 people who regularly attend the classes. But if I have to ask, last Saturday, how was the class? I will not ask all the 95 people. I'll only ask those 80 people who attended the class, those who were present. So see, what I want to know depends on my question also. And when I am asking a certain group, that choice of group also depends on what I am asking. Sometimes I have to seek the opinion of all 100 people, sometimes only 80 people, depending on what I'm asking. Same thing happens in the parliament also. Depending on what task is being done, different kind of majorities are there. First one is absolute majority. Second is effective. Third is simple. Now, all these 3 majorities. What is majority? More than half. This is what is called majority. So these are all majorities, more than half. Half of what? That is what is different. But then we will also see special kind of majority. Here, we are not worried about half. Here, 2/3. Because normally, whenever we use the word majority, we refer to more than 50%. But here, we will be referring to 2/3 people. So we'll see step by step what are these various kinds of majorities and where are they used also. First up is an absolute majority. We'll take the example of Lok Sabha, standard example. So in Lok Sabha, what is the total strength of Lok Sabha? Please tell me. 543. Right? This is a total strength of Lok Sabha. Let us say because of, say, 13 MPs were going on a bus trip to Goa and the bus crashed, all MPs died. 13 vacancies are there. Okay. This means what? The effective strength. What is effective strength? We saw yesterday only. Total strength minus vacancy will be 530. And on any given day, say 420 people are present. Just for example. This is also an example. Don't think currently there are 13 vacancies. Now, what do you mean by absolute majority? Absolute majority means majority of more than 50% of the total strength or membership of the house. More than 50% of total strength or total membership, which is what? More than 50% of 543. You can simply solve it now. What is 50%? 50 by 100. What do you mean by of? Of means into 543, which is what? What is half of 543? 271.5. But we have to get more than. This means 272. What does this mean? This means that if anything requires absolute majority, 272 MPs in the Lok Sabha will have to say yes, and then only can that task be done. Absolute majority is used in only one case, that is for formation of government after elections. That is why whenever you have election anywhere in the country, after the election you must be looking in the news and all, whoever wins more than half of the seats is declared the winner. That is the whole point. If you, let's say Himachal Pradesh, 68 seats, anybody who wins 35 seats, not half, more than half, you are declared the winner. This means you will form the government now. So if you want to form the government after elections, you have to get the absolute majority. Are we clear on this point? Okay. So this is what is absolute majority. Used only in one case. Case number 2. This is what is effective majority. We have already seen this yesterday only. A very good example was the election of the vice president. Remember, election of vice president. Article 67, it's mentioned here. Article 67B. Now, what is effective majority? Let's use the same example. But let's use this time, okay, let's use the same example for Lok Sabha only. In Lok Sabha, total strength 543, vacancy assume 13, effective strength 530, and let's say how many are present? 420. What is effective majority? Effective majority basically means more than 50% of effective strength, which is total strength minus vacant seats. More than 50% of effective strength effective strength which is more than 50% of 530, right? Now, what is 50%? 50 by 100. What is off? Off means into. What is 530? 530 only. What is half of 530? 265. But we have to look for what? More than, which means what? 266. So in case anything requires effective majority in Lok Sabha, more 266 people in this case will have to approve, and then the task is done. Effective majority. For example, removal of speaker. We just saw how is the speaker removed? Effective majority. This means this is the way in which we have to remove the speaker of the Lok Sabha. I hope this point is clear, right? The same thing is used to remove the vice president in Rajya Sabha also. Now, in the constitution, they don't use the word effective majority. What they use is a phrase called all the then members. This is a phrase used in the constitution to represent effective majority. All the then members. Look at this. This is Article 67B from the constitution only. And let's read what is mentioned here. Clause A says a vice president may, by writing under his hand, address to the president, resign. Okay, fair enough. We don't care about that. Clause B, a VP may be removed from his office by a resolution of Council of State, that is Rajya Sabha, passed by, look at the phrase mentioned here, passed by majority of all the then members. This is what is referred to as effective majority. Okay, that is it. I hope this point is clear. This is how we have an effective majority, right? Now, third type of majority is a simple majority. Simple majority is not bothered with the total strength, etc. How many people are present there? If more than half of the people present here say yes, task is done. Let's take the example again. Say in Lok Sabha, total strength 543, vacancy 13, effective strength 530. How many are present and voting? You have to be present and vote also. If you are present and you have gone to the washroom, then your vote is not counted, of course. Say 420, example. Okay. Simple majority. Simple majority can also be called functional majority, or it is also called working majority, because this is a most common majority which is used everywhere. And in the constitution, they use a phrase called by law. If you ever find a phrase called by law, it always means simple majority. What is simple majority? More than 50% of the members present and voting. So here, more than 50% P and V. I hope you understand. Present and voting. Okay. Which means what? 50 by 100. What is present and voting in this case? 420. What is half of 420? 220. But we know we have to find more than. So in this case, more than will be equal to what? 211. right? So this is what is meant by simple majority. I hope this point is clear and is understood by everybody. Simple majority. In fact, most things are done by a simple majority only. Okay. And look at this constitution. I am showing you an article in the constitution. This is Article 3. Parliament may by law. Can you observe this phrase here? By law. What is by law? By law basically means simple majority. So from now onwards, whenever I refer to by law, I hope you will directly understand it is just simple majority. Okay, that is there with respect to the three types of majorities that we have in the country: absolute, effective, and simple. Same majorities in the parliament, in the state legislature, it is common, no difference at all. Okay, now the application of simple majority is very, very wide. It is very, very wide, meaning it is used everywhere. So don't try to remember this. Remember, where do we use other kind of majorities? Whatever is left is simple majority only. Okay. So all such things, simple majority. All such things, simple majority. Simple majority. So that's why I said simple majority. Don't remember where we are using simple majority. Please remember where we are not using simple majority. Those are very few selective places only. And all other places we use what is called a simple majority. Okay, that's it. Now let's come to special kind of majorities. So normally our concept and understanding of majority is that it's more than half. Not always. Sometimes majority can also mean two-thirds. That is why we are using a term called special, because we are not referring to half, we are referring to two-thirds. So what is the very first kind of special majority? I think you have seen this. And in the last weekend only, we saw this special majority. And that special majority was what? Article 61, which is what? Impeachment of the president. Do you remember this Article 61? Impeachment of the president. What is the majority required? Here the majority required is at least two-third. Two-third of total strength. This is the majority required to impeach the Indian president. I hope you remember it. Just an innocent expectation. So let me recollect the entire procedure of removal. The procedure of removal start from this point of 1/4 MPs giving notice. Then 14 days prior notice is given. Then voting takes place in the house, two-third majority. It is passed in the other house, sent to the other house, where again voting takes place. And after the voting is over, the president stands impeached. This is called impeachment. And the majority is two-third of total strength. This is one special kind of majority. Second special kind of majority is what is Article 249 and 312. What kind of special majority is this? So here, this is the special power of Rajya Sabha, and this is at least two-third present and voting. Can you observe the difference here? There you have total strength, here you have present and voting. So what are these two articles? Special powers of Rajya Sabha. So what are the special powers of Rajya Sabha? Two articles, both require the same kind of majority, a very unique kind of situation. So in the very first class, we had talked about how we have these three lists mentioned under Schedule 7. Yes or no? Please pay attention now. Right? Mentioned under Schedule 7. Union list, state list, concurrent list. I had mentioned that normally states are allowed to make laws on state list subject. Okay, fair enough. But why did we add the word normally? Because there will be some situations where the center can make laws on state list subjects. One such situation is Article 249. So when can the state center make laws on state list subject? If it is necessary or expedient, meaning is same, expedient in national interest. If it is very urgent in national interest, then Raj Sabha can authorize the parliament. Raj Sabha can authorize the parliament. And this authorization that we are referring to, this authorization is what? The majority required is at least 2/3 P and V. What is P and V? Present and voting. So what can the Raj Sabha do? Raj Sabha can give the parliament meaning both Lok Sabha and itself, Raj Sabha, the permission. Authorize the parliament to, first point here, to make laws on state list subjects. Interesting, right? Raj Sabha can authorize the parliament to make a law on state list subjects. Clear? This, and there are some conditions. This authorization is valid for 1 year at a time, and this can be renewed any number of times. There is no limit to how many times you can renew this authorization. Okay. However, when you make a law, and it's not mandatory to make a law, you may not make a law also, but if you are allowed to make a law and you make a law, that law is not permanent. Laws made cease to exist after 6 months from the date of end of authorization. I'll explain. Don't worry. Let's take a simple example. Let us say that on 10th of October 2022, this date, Raj Sabha
gives the authorization. Authorization given. Raj Sabha has allowed the parliament. Parliament, go and make laws. Make laws on matters of police for, say, Tamil Nadu, Odisha, and Arunachal Pradesh. 3 states. It can be for all the states also. Permission is given. This permission is valid for how many months? Valid for 12 months, 1 year. This means what? It is valid till 9/10/2023. Okay. Now, in this period, the parliament can make a law, may not make a law. Let us say the parliament does make a law. In the month of, say, November, in the month of December, in the month of July, November 22, December 22, July 23, Parliament makes laws. Laws are made. These laws will not be permanent. Will expire. That is, cease to operate. When? These laws will cease to operate 6 months after end of authorization. After 6 months. That would mean 8th of what? April 2024. On this date, all the laws made will end. That is what is Article 249. Did we understand the provision? Right? Everyone? Okay. So this is called Article 249, and this authorization can extend to any number of years. But every time you want to extend the permission, again this 2/3 majority is required for every extension. This is a very unique situation where the parliament can make laws on stateless subjects. Now you will say, why is Rajya Sabha allowed? Because Rajya Sabha is the representation of states in the parliament. That is why Rajya Sabha is allowed to give permission to parliament. I'll repeat again. If the Rajya Sabha feels it is very, very urgent, very, very important in national interest, then Rajya Sabha in the Rajya Sabha can pass a proposal with 2/3 majority to permit the parliament to make a law on stateless subjects. This permission authorization is valid for 1 year, meaning for next 1 year from whatever date the permission is given, the parliament can keep on making laws on stateless subjects, on whatever laws the permission is given. But in case the laws are made during that period, those laws are not permanent. Once the authorization is over, say the authorization is over after 1 year, next 6 months after the end of authorization, 6 months are calculated. At the end of 6 months, all the laws made by the parliament on the stateless subject during the period of authorization, the laws are also over. So basically, you can make laws for maximum 18 months without the extension of authorization. This is what is Article 249. Okay. So 12 months are counted from the date of permission. Whether you make laws or not, nobody cares. 12 months are counted from date of author. That's why I'm counting 12 months from here. I am not counting 12 months from date of authorization or date of making laws. Please understand. Where am I calculating the 12 months from? I am calculating 12 months from date on which permission is given. Okay. That is how it is going to be calculated. If the parliament wants to make a law, it can make a law. If it does not want to make a law, it may not make a law. Permission is there. It is optional. It is not mandatory. Okay? Not mandatory. I hope this point is clear. This is Article 249. Article 3112 is even easier. So I hope you all know, and I'm not just know, you all also have the expectation to become not just any civil servant, but hopefully an all India servant. So in our country, we have 3 all India services. Yes or no? IAS, Indian Administrative Service, IPS, Indian Police Service, and IFOS, Indian Forest, not foreign. Foreign service is a central government service. Forest service. In case we want to create a new All India service, uh, All India Temple Service, possible? All India Education Service, possible? Then how to create that service? Same provision. Here also, what is going to happen is, if it is necessary or expedient in national interest, then Rajya Sabha can authorize the parliament to create a new All India service. Simple. So basically, this is very easy to create. There is a law in the country. For example, there is a law called All India Service Act of 1951. Law can be modified. For example, in 1966, Indian Forest Service was created. Okay, so this is how the Rajya Sabha can give the permission, and here it is not for 1 year. At any once permission is given, you are free to create an all India service at any point of time. 1 year later, 10 years later, 10 years later, 100 years later, we don't care. So how do we create a new all India service? Very simple question. How do we create a new all India service? Rajya Sabha has to give permission, and only then can the parliament bring a bill called the All India Service Amendment Bill, pass it, and the new All India Service is created. Okay. Now, if you say, sir, what do you mean by national interest? We don't know. Rajya Sabha decides. If Rajya Sabha feels it is important, it is urgent, then a law will be created. As simple as service will be created. As simple as that. What is the meaning of national interest? It is not defined anywhere. So there is no definition in the constitution. And see, please be reasonable also. We can't define everything in the constitution. So don't be obsessed with finding out definitions of everything in the constitution, because a lot of things have to be left for our MPs also to decide on a case to case basis. Because when you define things, they become fixed. And then there is very less scope for minor modifications. That is why a lot of things are not defined. They have been left for the best knowledge and understanding of our MPs. Okay, that is it. So this is Article 249, Article 312. Both of them are very unique. They require a special kind of majority. I hope this point has been understood. Okay. This is how we create an all India service. Okay. And one more thing, please don't be confused. When Rajya Sabha authorizes and a law has to be made, the law will be passed by both the houses. When I'm saying making a law, you have to pass it with a proper procedure. Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, both houses are involved. Don't feel that then Rajya Sabha is not involved. Once the permission is given, we can make a law. How is a law made in the country? Both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So don't think that only Lok Sabha. That is why I'm using the word parliament again and again. Meaning both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha along with president's signature. Proper procedure. It is just that to start a law or to start or to bring a proposal, firstly permission of Rajya Sabha is required. That's it. Okay. So this is with respect to the Rajya Sabha. Okay. Uh, Somebody says Shiva under this. Yes, laws. Once you are making a law, laws are made by simple majority only. This authorization requires a special majority. Everything else is normal. That's it. Just think that if you want to do such kind of things, prior permission is required. That permission is called authorization from Rajya Sabha. That's it. Otherwise, everything is exactly the same. Okay. So, for the sake of some people here, I'll repeat both these things again, right? Permission is taken through voting. Of course, through voting. How else will you take permission? You won't go to everybody's house and say, do you permit? Do you allow? Voting. So, let's repeat both these articles separately. Please hear my words carefully, right? So, sometimes we are more tuned into asking something. Hear me out first, right? If it is very important, very urgent, very necessary in the national interest. Now, what is national interest? It could be some urgent need to improve education in the country. It could be the urgent need to improve health in the country, right? If it is urgent in national interest, then Rajya Sabha, the Council of States, that's the name of Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha can authorize the parliament, both the houses. Parliament means what? Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and president can authorize the parliament to create a new all India service. That is how a new all India service can be created. Okay. And once you create a new all India service, this means what? Once the permission is given, then the proposal, a bill can be brought in any house. That bill will be called All India Services Amendment Bill. And in that, we can add a new service. Once you pass the bill, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha pass it with a simple majority, a law is created, a new service is created. Secondly, again, if it is very urgent, very necessary, expedient, in national interest, maybe the center wants to make laws on police. Maybe center feels that in the state of Chhattisgarh, the police is not very effective. We want to control it. Maybe. Then the Rajya Sabha will authorize the parliament for 1 year to make laws on that matter, whatever matter they authorize to the parliament for that state. This is not mandatory. Maybe the parliament makes a law, they may not make a law. What is mandatory? Compulsory. So the parliament may make a law, parliament may not make a law. But this permission to make a law is only valid for 1 year. If you want to increase the permission period, you have to again, meaning Rajya Sabha has to again authorize, pass by the same two-third majority, and the permission extends for 1 more year. This extension can keep on happening any number of times. Okay. In this period, the parliament can make any number of laws on that authorized or permitted topic of state list. But any and every law you make in that period, all those laws end 6 months after the permission ends. 6 months after permission ends. This is Article 249, Article 312. Okay? I hope now things are okay. So that is all as far as our Article 249 and 312 is concerned. How can old ordinary service be deleted? There is no provision mentioned anywhere to delete an all India service. You will have to simply modify the law to delete a service. This means again ideally the condition is Rajya Sabha will permit the same procedure to delete also all India service. because there is no provision mentioned anywhere. Okay. Any examples of impeachment? Raj Kishore, there has been no example of impeachment. No president has been impeached ever in the country. Nikhil, special majority is different. Can't you see the difference? In the case of president, it is at least 2/3 of total strength. In the case of Article 249(3), it is 2/3 of present and voting. Total strength means total membership of the House. 543 for Lok Sabha, 245 for Rajya Sabha. Present and voting means how many people have come on that day. These are two different things. We just saw it. Cherub, we'll discuss that separately. Don't worry. We'll come to that. After the break, we'll discuss amendment only. So we'll discuss that. Why is application of simple majority more? Because simple majority is the easiest kind of majority. How many are present? Half of you have approved it. Okay. So most things have to be done because changes, we have given more scope to making changes more easily because our constitution is very flexible. That is why. How a law is made permanent? What is the meaning of permanent? Nothing is permanent. Every law you make can be modified by the next government. Nothing is permanent. You cannot make a permanent law. It's not possible only. It is not possible. I'm repeating it. It is not possible to make a permanent law. Every law can be modified. In fact, tomorrow the parliament can also cancel basic structure. Supreme Court will again cancel the law. Somebody has to stop. Otherwise, you can keep on making laws. Nothing is permanent. Okay. It is all dependent on the current parliament and the current judges in the Supreme Court on what is the final situation of the law at that point of time. So what is permanent is the current situation. That's it. Nothing is permanent. Article 249 is applicable for every state, all the states together, in any permutation combinations possible. I gave an example of few states, but you can take example of other states also. All the states also together, anything is possible. Yamani, that is a simple majority. CA was also needed special majority. No, CA is just a law. What is so special about CA? Okay, anything else left? Shiva, any limit by parliament and judgment? Yes, they can have a backdate effect also, but they should not be a criminal law. Otherwise, they can have backdate effect. Done. I hope your points and doubts are resolved. Okay, great. Now let's do one thing. Let's take a break, a lunch break of full 1 hour, complete enjoyment. Yes, Aditi, absolutely correct. Permission is granted by effective. No. Why effective majority? Why? I am mentioning 2/3. Please don't use effective majority as a word here. Effective majority means more than 50%. I am mentioning here 2/3. Why are you using effective majority? No, not effective. 2/3 majority. Okay. Preetham, I did say Article 312 permission is valid forever. Where did I mention 6 months? Don't create provisions on your own. It's valid forever. When the parliament wants to make a law, it will make a law. Don't add any provision on your own, guys. What is mentioned here is mentioned here. Okay, nothing adding on your own. Okay, let's take a break. Be back at 2:10, and then we will take up our discussion further on the remaining topics. Okay, break please. Break till 2:10 p.m. Okay, break, guys.